most successful organizations focus more on capability. So yes, it is about formulating the strategy. It is about the alignment. It is about getting the mindset in place. But what we have to do well is we have to build capability across the business. So capability then is the number one driver or lever for executing strategies really well. So if we looked at this a little bit in a little bit more detail, and this is the interesting slide for me, is the CEO disconnect. And what you see on the slide over here is the response from the CEOs and board members versus other C-level leaders versus non-C-level leaders and managers on the question of, do they believe as CEOs that their leaders can drive execution successfully? CEOs are overwhelmingly positive, all right, that their business can do it, all right? And I think this is their job, hey? Their job is to be positive, to drive the market sentiment, to have the right messages out there. However, the next level down, the C-suite is saying, you know what? We don't know. We don't know whether this organization can execute, all right? And then the people to whom the message gets to, which are the managers, and they're saying, yes, you know what? We can do it. So there's a disconnect there that I think needs to be addressed in how we go about executing the strategy. I think leaders underestimate the complexity of the implementation and put a lot of emphasis on the formulation. The other interesting piece that links into this is the capability gap, so their perception of whether or not they are equipped to deal with this. And market leaders invest, because they invest heavily in capability, they tend to be more positive about whether or not they have a leadership gap here. And here you can see their concerns about their ability to execute are generally a lot lower than organizations that are not focused on capability. And so here's my question is around, do we focus on alignment, mindset, or capability, and where do we start? Generally, organizations start with the alignment and mindset piece. Because we have the CEO roadshow, we have the new stuff the things that we want to do, we have the posters and the banners, and we focus heavily on the mindset and the alignment piece of it, getting people rallied around the new strategy. And then we forget to execute. We forget to do the stuff that really builds that capability. And my contention is that, if we focus on the capability piece first, and we started driving that along with the mindset and capability, it makes the alignment piece a lot easier, right? When people understand what they have to do, how they have to do it, and in the context in which they have to perform. What are some of the things that if we can do this well, right, we're going to be able to improve our ability to succeed? And so we asked the CEOs and the leaders, we said, well, tell us a little bit about what is the key challenges for you and how do you rank them? So number 7, they said, business analysis and recognition of key financial drivers, people need to understand that. It's important, right? Operational effectiveness, yes, we have to be operationally effective. Efficiency in implementation and timely decision making is important. Talent development and building the capabilities for today and the future. And I think this is the piece that we struggle with, hey? Is that ability to stand in both camps. On the one side, we have to run an existing organization that has existing business models, existing structures, processes, systems, and at the same time, we stand with our feet in the new world, the digital world, or the world of innovation and new products. And we're expecting our people and leaders to have to balance those two. And it's about building talent and capability for that. Number 3 that they rated was decision-making and evaluation of financial trade-offs. So how do I make financially relevant decisions in the business? The second one is about innovation and new product development. And the number 1 thing, the 43% said that cross-organizational collaboration is our biggest inhibitor. If we can get this right, we will succeed better. How do we break down the silos? How do we break down the barriers that we've created over time? And if I go back to the initial part of that research, which looked at the CEO and the C-level and that gap, that disconnect between the two, that is the cross-functional barriers, the silos that have been built up. People who have built up, I want to call it fiefdoms. They've become successful by building that part of the business. And by breaking those things down will trigger the successes for the organization. So there's the big 4. I think if we can get those right, we'll start working much more efficiently in executing the strategy. Right. So my final thing there to hang with you here is this. The head of Apple University said the following. He said, "We have a unique position in the market and therefore a unique strategy to take share. It would be irrational to apply a standard universal set of leader expectations against a differentiated strategy." And I think this is what we tend to do. We tend to generalize everything once we get down to the masses, instead of focusing on what are the high-impact leader behaviors, the leader capabilities required to execute the strategy more effectively.